Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we are diving into a topic that has sparked much debate and introspection. Can vegetarians eat eggs and dairy in Buddhism? This question is not just about food choices, it is about understanding the deeper philosophical implications of our actions and their impact on our spiritual journey. In Buddhism, food is not merely seen as sustenance, it is also an essential part of the practice of mindfulness, respect for life, and the cultivation of compassion. In today's video, we will explore the relationship between vegetarianism, Buddhism, and the consumption of eggs and dairy. Why is vegetarianism considered important in Buddhism? How does the consumption of eggs and dairy fit into the Buddhist understanding of cause and effect? And what can this teach us about our practice and the path to spiritual purification? Vegetarianism and Buddhism, a path to purification and compassion. In Buddhism, the concept of vegetarianism goes beyond a simple dietary choice. It is seen as a spiritual practice that aligns with the principles of compassion, non-harming, and respect for all living beings. Buddhists are taught to avoid causing harm to any living creature, and for many, this is reflected in their diet. By choosing a vegetarian lifestyle, practitioners not only reduce the direct harm they cause to animals, but also cultivate compassion and mindfulness in their daily lives. Vegetarianism in Buddhism is deeply tied to the principle of non-violence, ahimsa. According to Buddhist teachings, every being has a right to life, and to take life unnecessarily is to go against the natural order of things. The consumption of animal products, whether it's meat, eggs, or dairy, can therefore be seen as causing harm to sentient beings. By choosing to avoid these products, Buddhists seek to avoid causing unnecessary suffering and instead foster an attitude of kindness and compassion toward all living beings. However, the consumption of eggs and dairy is a more complex issue. While many Buddhists believe that avoiding meat is an essential practice, there are various schools of thought regarding eggs and dairy. Some argue that eggs, being a form of potential life, should be avoided for the same reason as meat. Others point out that dairy products, while derived from animals, do not directly cause death and may not carry the same karmic weight as meat. This debate touches on a deeper philosophical question about the nature of cause and effect, and how our actions, whether they seem small or large, affect our spiritual progress and karmic balance. It's not just about the food itself, it's about the intention behind the food choice, and how this decision affects our practice of mindfulness, compassion, and non-harming. The role of cause and effect in Buddhist dietary choices. In Buddhism, the law of cause and effect, karma, is a central concept. Every action, whether it is physical, verbal, or mental, creates an effect that will eventually return to us, shaping our future experiences. The way we live our lives, including what we eat, can have profound consequences on our karma. When it comes to food, the Buddhist approach encourages practitioners to make choices that minimize harm and maximize the cultivation of virtue. The consumption of eggs and dairy, while not directly involving the killing of an animal, still involves the exploitation of living beings. In the case of dairy, the production process often involves the repeated use of cows, who are subjected to harsh conditions, and in some cases, eventually slaughtered when they can no longer produce milk. Similarly, the production of eggs, especially in industrial farming systems, often involves the culling of male chicks, who are deemed unnecessary for egg production. These practices, while not always visible to the consumer, contribute to a cycle of suffering for animals. For this reason, many Buddhists argue that even consuming eggs and dairy can contribute to negative karma, as it perpetuates the suffering of sentient beings. However, the concept of karma in Buddhism is not solely about external actions, it also involves the inner motivations and the mental states behind those actions. In other words, A vegetarian diet is not virtuous simply because it avoids causing harm to animals. It is virtuous because it reflects the practitioner's intention to act out of compassion and mindfulness. A person who eats vegetarian food with a heart full of compassion and mindfulness is cultivating positive karma, while someone who consumes meat with the intention to harm or exploit will accumulate negative karma, regardless of the specific food choice. The importance of intent in Buddhist practice. Buddhism teaches that it is not enough to simply refrain from harmful actions. It is the intention behind those actions that matters most. A vegetarian diet may be seen as an expression of compassion, but it is only truly virtuous if it arises from a genuine desire to reduce suffering. If one chooses to avoid animal products out of habit or for superficial reasons, without cultivating a compassionate mindset, then that diet does not contribute to spiritual growth. Similarly, if someone consumes eggs or dairy but does so with the intention of minimizing harm and supporting ethical practices, their actions may be less detrimental from a karmic perspective than if they consume these products carelessly or out of greed. The important lesson here is that Buddhist practice is not about rigid rules, but about cultivating awareness, compassion, and mindfulness in all aspects of life. This extends to our dietary choices. In Buddhism, food is not seen as a mere physical necessity, but as an opportunity to practice mindfulness and deepen our spiritual awareness. When we eat with mindfulness, we are reminded of the interconnectedness of all life and the impact our actions have on the world around us. Choosing food that aligns with our values, whether that means avoiding meat, eggs, and dairy, or choosing ethical alternatives, is an expression of our commitment to live in harmony with the world. What does it mean to choose food mindful life? Mindful eating is a core practice in Buddhism. It involves being fully present with our food, recognizing where it comes from, and understanding the impact it has on the world. When we eat mindfully, we not only nourish our bodies, but also nurture our spiritual well-being. This practice encourages us to make food choices that reflect our values of compassion, mindfulness, and non-harming. For Buddhists, mindful eating is an opportunity to reflect on the interconnectedness of all beings. It is an invitation to honor the lives of those who provided our food, whether plant or animal. By choosing food that has been ethically sourced and prepared, we demonstrate our respect for the lives of others and our commitment to living in a way that causes the least harm. In this light, the decision to avoid eggs and dairy is not simply about avoiding harm to animals. It is about making a conscious choice to live in a way that reflects our highest spiritual aspirations. Whether or not we eat these products, the key is the intention behind the choice. When our decisions are guided by mindfulness and compassion, we are on the path to spiritual purification and greater awareness. On choosing the path of compassion and mindfulness. Ultimately, the question of whether vegetarians can eat eggs and dairy in Buddhism is not a simple one. It depends on the individual's understanding of cause and effect, the intentions behind their actions, and their commitment to cultivating compassion and mindfulness in all aspects of life. There is no one-size-fits-all answer, but the key is to approach our dietary choices with awareness and care, considering the impact they have on the world around us. In Buddhism, the path to spiritual growth is not about following rigid rules, but about cultivating a deep understanding of the interconnectedness of all beings and acting with compassion. Whether we choose to avoid eggs and dairy or find ways to consume them more ethically, the important thing is to remain mindful and compassionate in all that we do. Thank you for watching today's video. If you found this discussion insightful, we would love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video with your friends to help support the channel. See you in the next video.